All right, we are live. We are recording. Welcome to the December Sales Mastery Call. This is a call that I do once a month, and I get to bring my 25 years of sales experience to the table and just try to give you some nuggets, just even that little edge that you can use to make everything a bit more effective. In all the years that I've been a coach in the mortgage industry, here's what I found. Most people do not have a sales background. Definitely most realtors do not have a sales background. So if you can lean in and realize that this is a sales job, and the quicker that you can own that, embrace it, embody it, and say, I am a salesperson, the better off you are. And it's really tricky in mortgage because most of us really love solving problems. We love putting the puzzle together. We like the technical part of it. And it's fun, but you can also hide in the technical part of it. You can hide in the fact that you love to read tax returns or be save a day person. And the truth is, this is a commission only job that requires us to go out and build relationships and influence people to take action. Hopefully, we're influencing people with the most pure motive that we can for their benefit. Because as I've said in many sales calls before, I never grew up thinking I want to be a salesperson. In fact, I always kind of thought, oh, a salesperson's cheesy. That's beneath me. There's no way I'm going to be a salesperson. Until I started realizing that salespeople are the highest paid profession in the world, higher paid than doctors, lawyers, principals, whatever you want to name it. It's salespeople. And the other thing is, sales is the great equalizer. See, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing this. There are loan officers on this call guaranteed that in their first year will do more production, earn higher incomes with enthusiasm and raw energy than somebody who's got 20 years of experience and could read the book on every guideline, write the book on every guideline. And that's the truth. So the best loan officer isn't the highest paid loan officer. And when I heard that, that was a mind shift for me, because when I got in this business at 23, I had imposter syndrome. I was like, who is going to listen to this 23-year-old blonde chick about the biggest financial decision of their lives? Like, I wore a suit every day. I thought, okay, I've got to really be professional. I've got to really dig into the technical part of this job. I've got to anticipate, know, and figure things out. And I nerded out. Okay. I nerded out because I'm a nerd. The thing that saved me is that I've got an insane work ethic. I like to move very fast. And before mortgage, I had 4 years of sales experience, 4 years of cold calling out of the white pages, of speaking in front of people and presenting a network marketing deal, of promoting events and getting people to come to a Super Saturday training or to get on a bus and go to a conference once a month. I had to ask the closing question. I had to learn how to build rapport and get people to want to trust me and to open their mind and to, share energy. And I did that from a young age. I was 19, 20, 21, 22. I was often trying to influence people that are much older than me. So I come into mortgage, I have this fundamental skill, so much so that most of it was unconscious. Because like anything, you guys, every skill that I will ever teach you, you can learn so well that it becomes how you breathe. It's who you are. I want you to write this down. There's 4 stages of learning. Okay. 4 stages of learning. Number 1 stage is unconsciously incompetent. Unconsciously incompetent. This means you don't even know that you suck at something. You don't know. The next stage is consciously incompetent. You're now highly aware that you don't know, that you suck at something. You're like, oh, this is a skill that I should have that I actually am not even good at. Okay. The third one is now you become consciously competent. Okay. You can do the thing, but you're very conscious about it. And the fourth is being unconsciously competent. You're now so good at it, just part of who you are. So give you the best example, because most of us know how to drive a car. When we we're younger and we're driving around with our parents. They're driving the car and we're in the back seat and we have no idea how we get from one place to the other. We maybe realize that there's like pedals on the floor. We maybe realize that they're pushing one or the other. There's a steering wheel thing, but we don't understand how you're pushing gas, you're using brake, you're, using a blinker. We are unconsciously incompetent. We don't know. Okay. Then at some point, you get behind the wheel of a car and you're maybe like 13 or 14 and you go, okay, there's that stick and then you got this thing and you pull the stick down and you push the pedal and boom, you run into the garage. Now you're consciously incompetent. You don't know. Okay. And then all of a sudden you start practicing and you get your permit and you're like, okay, my hands are at 10 and 2. I'm going to look at the rear view mirror and the side mirror and I'm going to push the brake. And you're like so focused. And now you know how to drive a car, but it's like a very active, engaged process to do it. And then what about now? How many of you got to work today and you might have taken a phone call, switched the music 3 times, put on your mascara, blacked out. You have no idea how you even got here because you're not having to actively focus on it. The reason I want to share that with you is because when you're in those 2 stages of learning where you suck and now you can do it, but it's a lot of effort, it's very scary. And it's easy to want to quit because it's uncomfortable, right? But I promise you're going to want to get all the way to the end where you can drive the car without thinking. Okay. Because if you can get good at the skills I'm going to give you today, you can move people and you can move a lot of people. And it doesn't take a ton of time and effort. You can work more at a leveraged pace. Okay. So I brought Brock on with me with no warning because Brock has spent, how long did you spend in the car sales business, Brock?
13 years.
13 years. And he ran whole sales organizations with car salespeople. When you hire car salespeople, did they have any sales experience, Brock?
Some did, but very few. We hired, based off of potential versus like their hard skills they've learned.
Okay, so what kind of potential are you looking for in a great salesperson?
The biggest thing two things I always said we could never teach was one was personality. At least in the car business, you needed some people looked at it. I think it was one below a root canal was going to a car dealership. So, you had to have a personality to at least bring people's walls down. And then the other thing I always said is you had to have optimism. Like you're going to be rejected all day long, and I cannot teach you how to be optimistic. I just think some of that's inherent. And so those are the 2 things I feel like we looked at as non-negotiables.
And somebody with a personality means that they are likable enough that right off the bat that they can bring a wall down because you don't get scary vibes from them.
Exactly. Our statistic was they had 10 seconds to like you. And they would make that determination a client would within 10 seconds. So if you can't make someone like you within 10 seconds, this is not the career for you.
Okay, which is precisely why I said in my last newsletter or the last one before that your smile is your number 1 asset. Okay. And everybody that's on this call knows that they're likable enough. And I think sometimes I could get heady about, am I saying in the right way? Is it the right tempo? Is the right tonality? Was I too intense? Was I leaning in? Like, get out of your flipping head. First of all, realize that your smile and your warmth are your 2 biggest tendencies. Like, don't be weird. Don't be awkward. Like, bring warmth to somebody. Pay attention when you're out in the world and you're in the grocery store aisle or you're at the cashier or you're at the Starbucks line or you're at your kid's soccer game and you feel warmth from somebody. Like, notice that. Like, become very curious about human behavior and go, why did they make me feel that way? What was it about them? You guys, I became obsessed about studying this stuff at 19 years old because I did not have these people skills. Okay. I've always been very intense, focused, and been told I'm intimidating. Now, what I'm realizing after doing a lot of personal growth work and I'm getting certified as a life coach and I'm unearthing all this stuff, you've been through your own therapy journeys too, Brock, right? This is like, why was I that intimidating character? And the truth is that as a little girl, I didn't feel chosen. Like by the time I was 3 or 4 years old, my parents were surviving and doing their thing and, surviving what they had survived. I didn't really feel seen. I didn't feel like I was lovable just the way I was. There was a moment where, my brothers came along. I'm the oldest and I'm a girl, and my mom and dad were like 21. And so, you've got the immaturity thing going on and all those other things. Then my brothers came along and I felt like my dad knew what to do with the boys. There was a moment my dad took the boys duck hunting and he didn't take me. And like the fact that I can say this today without completely crying is like, I'm making progress on my healing. But it was a moment that I didn't feel chosen. And I felt that I wasn't good enough as I was. And so from that moment forward, I started creating a belief that I needed to be a winner in order to be loved. And all of you, I guarantee, had something similar happen to you, because all of us don't, at some point in time, have been harmed in our worthiness. And may have become a people pleaser. We may have become very others focused. Like we've always got to be helpful and we've always got to be showing up. And our whole lives are driven by, avoiding this guilt or shame or figuring out how to be valuable to other people. And so I'm 43, my entire life focused on being a winner, winning at all costs. Okay. So that served me very well on paper and in America, where we count people's value based on the stuff they own and value their bank account and all that shit. But from an emotional place, and the reason I'm doing so much work on this is it's not allowed me to connect and nurture my daughters the way I want to. I didn't even know how to nurture. I didn't know how to protect. I knew how to go out and fucking win. So here I am at 43 going, gosh, why are my kids anxious? Why is this behavior reflecting back to me? How am I showing up for them? And I'm unearthing my stuff. So here's why I'm telling you this on this call. Why is Shayla getting so intimate on a sales mastery call? Because sales is about human connection. That's it. That's all it is. Can you help see and feel? Can somebody help you feel seen and heard and valued, right? And the people that make us feel seen, that connect with us, that bring us that warmth, that lower our, guard, if you will, but also lower our nervous system. We are so looking for that as human beings, okay? Because we're all just little 5-year-olds running around. So at 19 years old, I drop out of college because I've already figured out how to win all that. I figured out in 7th grade when they started posting the grades on the board. I want to get the best grade in the school, in the class, whatever. What do I got to do? What note cards do I have to do? How do I have to prepare for a test? How do I have to win? And I figured out how to win it. Check, check, check. Did it. So I get to college and I'm like, this is boring. Like I want to get out in the world and I want to like do big things. And then I get into sales and I'm like, oh, nobody cares if I can go crush a test. Nobody cares if I know all the answers and the guidelines. Nobody gives a rip that I closed 20 loans yesterday. Like they don't care about my trophies and my accolades and my resume. No one cares. What they care about is how I make them feel. What they care about is how interested I am in them. Am I here to serve them and their needs and their desires and their motives? And I didn't know how to get people to like me. So I became obsessively curious about studying human nature and going, okay, who makes me feel warm and comfortable? Who do I attract to? What do they do? So if nothing you get out of this call, but you just determine for the rest of December, I'm probably going to see a lot of people. I'm going to be at family functions. I'm going to go to Christmas parties. I'm going to be at my kids' school. I'm going to be out holiday shopping, whatever. Study those people that just have the it factor, that just have the personality, and they get hired because of their personality, not because of their damn skills, you guys, because they're that feeling that they make you have. This thing is the thing that will pay you forever for the rest of your life. Okay. AI will not be able to replace this feeling that we have human to human. So this to me is the stuff. This is why I'm working on it with you. And thank you for confirming that, Brock, and how you hired people. And I just want to finish this comment about people's deepest unmet need. Okay. So if you're a loan officer on this call, we oftentimes go out and look for real estate agents to partner with because we both get paid the same way. We're both commission only, and we live and die and feed our family by somebody buying a house. Okay. So you could go partner with insurance agents, title companies, car dealerships, anybody, any human being knows people. They all have a network. But why do we generally call a real estate agent, learn about their business, and sit down with them? It's because we're in this sucker together. We both need someone to buy a house in order to get paid, us on the loan side and them on the real estate commission side, right? But what you're dealing with, forget about the fact that they're a realtor and that they have to sell a house and all that other stuff. Let's go back to the human. The human has an unmet need, right? That's what we all have, that we're all actually, we aren't aware of this consciously, but that's all what we're running around looking to do as adults, right? So for most, it's love and belonging. I want to feel like I belong. I want to feel seen and heard. I want to feel special. I want to feel chosen. Can someone pick me? Can somebody see me? Can somebody say, you're my person? That's the human need that we all have. Okay. So as I've realized for me that what Shayla's deepest unmet need is, and why Shayla works incessantly and is creating constant content and is putting on the best year ever workshop next week and started Catalyst coaching and is doing all the shit that I do. Honestly, why do I do it? Because I actually want to belong. I want to be chosen, right? So the person that gets in front of me and sees me and chooses me for whatever reason, it could be the barista, it could be anybody, you're actually coming to the core of me, of who I am, and saying, I choose you. So hopefully all the tactics don't freaking matter if you can get your intention and your motive straight, and you can get clear on what people actually really, really, really want deep down. Okay. That's that. What do they not want? They don't want to be taken advantage of. They don't want to be manipulated or used. They don't want to be hurt. They don't want to be rejected. They don't want to be abandoned. They don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to be exposed. That's it. So everything that I do, if I enter in a relationship, I'm going to try to honor that I really, really care about you. Honestly, genuinely, I care about you. And then I care about your goals, what you care about. If I care about you, I have to care about what you care about. Okay. And so, so many people ask the questions like, okay, how should my list be? How do I qualify them? How many deals should they have done? Da, 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 da. We could go through all of that so that you spend more of your time with the right kind of person. But at the end of the day, you still got to go back to the human side of it. And if you don't really genuinely care about the person, it's going to flop. It's going to fall apart. The relationship might last for 2 or 3 transactions, but it was transactional. Let's be real. Let's figure out how to get past that transaction, because this becomes really easy when it's there. Oh, comments or questions on that, Brock?
I mean, I just love everything you said. I think that, yeah, the human desire for all of us to feel chosen or accepted is one of my favorite words too, is just insanely powerful. And I think that it comes back to me, I think for clients is just making sure that we're listening to every single need. One of my favorite things from the car business as well is that when we did a walk around on a car, we had like 15 touch points we had to walk around with a client. And the thing I would always train on is that people cared about 5% of the features that the car had. But if you train on the other features they don't care about, they completely tune out and they're gone. And I think about that all the time when I'm meeting with clients or realtors. Like if you're doing your pitch or you're doing what you think matters when you buy a house, you've lost them. No matter how big your smile is or how much you show them you love them, no matter how funny you are, if they don't feel like you understood their needs, completely separate from what you think a realtor wants or a client would want, you lose them. And so the thing I always say in my head is focus on the 5%. Like focus on the 5% of things I could tell them today as a realtor or tell them today when they buy a house. What are the 5%, like the 5% of things I can coach them or teach them that they actually care about? So I think that's hugely important.
Mm. Okay. This is really, really good. So remember that people gravitate toward people that make them feel good. That's it. So, and how do we make people feel good? We've got to feel good first. Like genuinely, this goes back to all the stuff I'm teaching in Catalyst of like, how'd you sleep last night? What music did you listen to? Are you waking up and reading the news right away? Do you go right into your email? Are you doing things that make you feel like a robot and reading off a script? Or do you do things that like fill you up? Brock, you shared your incredible journey around mental health and your personal journey at the retreat. And you just made, I mean, mic drop, room was freaking silent. But one thing that you shared was that you wake up every day and focus on your mental health. Like, where am I at? What rating am I at? And what is something I can do to feel good? And that didn't come from, I mean, you're a guy that everybody would think is just naturally happy all the time, and you've been through some stuff, and that's not what this call is really about, except that you've made it a practice to get into the best state that you can get into, to shine your light on others. So just this week, give me a couple ideas of things that you've done when you've woken up in the morning to feel good so that you can pour into others.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, so the concept I talked about was what do you create versus what do you allow in your life? So allow would be like you wake up in a shitty mood, you're a 5 out of 10. Um, and I mean that just happens, right? We wake up some mornings and you're like, damn, I am in a bad mood or whatever. And then creating is how am I going to get myself to a 10 or as close to a 10 as I can? And so one of my friends actually ended up watching the Zoom call from Reno, and we text every single day, what are you at and what are you going to create? And we've done that for the last 2 weeks and it's been so fun. So Tuesday morning, I woke up. I did not sleep very well. I woke up in the worst mood. And my number was a 5. And so mine was very simple. I live right by a canyon here in Utah called Mill Creek Canyon. Took my dog, went on like a 30-minute walk and just complete silence up there. Came back, felt completely refreshed and renewed. And there's this video I think I talked about as well. Monday morning, I just needed like a little bit of a boost. It's from The Greatest Showman. It was when they were filming one of their like really upbeat songs. It's insanely powerful, I think. So put that on while I was getting ready in the morning. Bam, like lifted my mood. So yeah, I think the energy you have in your body every single day is what's going to move the needle. No matter what skills you have, if you're not in the right like mental state, you can't sell a thing, I don't think.
Dude, can I just please ask for 2025? Can you bless us with sharing more of this shit on social media? Because if you just like got in your truck and go, okay, today I woke up as a 2 and here's what I did. And now I'm feeling like a 6, but maybe you need to hear this. Like, I want to know the little videos, the little things, because I know
I know,
you're
I need to. That's a huge, I mean, from Reno, I'm like, I've got to, yeah, mental health. I'm so passionate about it. And I think we just don't talk about it enough. And in this business, if you're not in the right state, I think it is so hard to connect with somebody. It is because they sense it.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so I will absolutely be
Yeah.
sharing
So,
more for
and
sure.
listen, this is a unique way to start a call, but it is the thing. It is the thing. Because I could tell you every day you need to have a list of 40 people, you need to have a power hour, you need to have 5 quality conversations, and a quality conversation is 2 minutes or longer. And if you did that every day of having 5 quality conversations, your business would completely transform and double over the next 12 months. Okay. And we could say, oh, tactics are done. Check. We had a call. We were tactical. But who is the person showing up to the phone calls? Who is the person walking into that meeting or that networking event or, the client pre-approval Zoom meeting? That is what matters. It's your vibe. right? It is getting yourself into that place. And then realizing that sales is about influence. Okay. A great salesperson can move people. So some people are like, yeah, I'm great at sales, but then they can't get anybody to show up for anything. They can't fill a room. You like literally, they could have Tony Robbins doing a free seminar and they couldn't get anybody to come attend it, right? That's what you have to evaluate for yourself is, can I influence people to do something? So it's as simple as like, can I get them to influence signing this piece of paper? Can I get them to influence taking a next step and texting me, once they've gone and looked at that house, right? And, what I learned in sales is that like, could you sell somebody this pen for $10,000? Like, what's the value of this pen? The value is what I can place on the value, right? And sales is about raising the value of something more than something else, right? If I would want you to watch an educational video tonight instead of watching that Netflix show, I've got to raise the value of watching this thing and how you're going to feel and how it connects to your goals. And oh my gosh, what it did for me, so that you go, I want to do that thing. Okay. So I'm just going to read through some of my notes because I've got so much I want to give you guys today. Motive is clear. Like if you're second guessing yourself, just ask yourself the question, what's my motive? If your motive is very self-serving, it's manipulative, it's cheesy, no wonder you feel like shit. If the motive is, I genuinely care about this person, and I really believe that if they came and met with me for a pre-approval meeting, if they came to my client party, if they came to my happy hour, if they came to this lunch and learn, whatever, if my motive is genuinely, I think it would be really, really good for them, people will feel it. And you don't have to think about the words. You literally just have to speak from your heart and go for it and say, Brock, oh my gosh, I've got this thing. I have to tell you about it. I'm so excited. Like you said this one thing to me once and I never forgot it. And this is the thing, right? Brock, you often send me songs out of nowhere and you'll send me a random song and it'll say loud, right? And what I feel, the motive behind that is, Shayla, I thought of you. I choose you. You're special to me. I'm just sending you sunshine, right? I don't think there was a motive like, well, I'm going to send this to Shayla today so that she will do this for me. And then I will get that. Does that make sense, everyone? But sometimes we behave that way and we need to just get more excited about the pure motive of helping somebody. So when we influence people, the goal is a couple things. Either number one, ignite a desire within them. Ignite a desire with them. So next week, I'm doing this best year ever 3-day challenge. And as I'm talking through social media or I'm talking to somebody one-on-one, I know I've got to edify this, which you guys just gave me your definitions. You got to build something up. You got to praise someone. You compliment beyond the norms. Somebody used this dictionary. Okay, I do think it's like building it up. It's putting it in high regard. Okay, pump it up, edify it, right? So I'm doing that to increase your desire for wanting that thing, right? Like I'm telling you guys, this pen, the fact that it's got 4 different colors and I get to push depending on my mood and I get to make this beautiful piece of art out of my notes and I get to click it occasionally and it's like bright and shiny and it feels so good and it writes so smooth. Maybe you feel a little bit of desire for having one of these pens with your Catalyst planner, okay? Because you're like, oh, Shayla's planner is guaranteed prettier than mine. And I am visual. And you know what? I do like little things like that. It's a little treat to myself to go ahead and push the blue and go, blue is such a positive color. Black, not so positive. That's increasing desire for something. Do you have to be silly? No. Does it help if you're silly, cheesy, outlandish, like excited? Yes. People like it. It feels good, right? It just does. if I'm at a car lot, Brock, and somebody's still talking to me about the 5% features I care about, but they're talking in a tone like this, and versus if they're flirty with me, like, oh, girl, you care about the acceleration. Let me tell you, when you put your foot on
Totally.
the gas, your head's going to go back. Like you are going to feel like the most powerful goddess on the road. It's saying the same thing, but you're igniting desire in me.
Yeah,
Where
tone and
I,
inflection is one of my favorite things. Tone and inflection. We talk about it all the time.
yeah, but just in another way, be playful,
Yep.
be flirty, be cheesy, be silly, have fun with it, play loose, right? Because what I think about instead of like how to do it is what is the outcome I want to get? What is the outcome? And if the outcome is I want to increase your desire for something, how would I do that? Right? Okay. The other thing is excitement. So maybe I just want to get you excited about like, could you imagine if you come to the best year ever challenge next week and for the first time you have clarity? You've already thought about your anniversary. You've thought about your birthday. You've thought about your mom's birthday. Are you somebody that forgets key things or last minute you're scrambling and you end up feeling bad that you didn't do something really special? Well, listen, if you take a couple hours and you plan this stuff out and you put it on a big calendar, you're going to like be a rock star this year. Excitement, right? Um, Agreement. If I'm trying to influence, I'm trying to get somebody to agree with me, right? So edifying is like, if I were to say, I want you to go to Brock's class, okay? I'm going to promote Brock and why Brock is amazing. I'm going to promote like the topic and why that is like such a meaningful topic. And I'm going to align it to you and your goals. Okay. So I'm going to play with Amanda and Amanda, pretend I'm talking to you. Hey, Amanda. Oh my gosh. I'm calling you because I have something so exciting to tell you about. And I'm not giving you a ton of notice, but in 2 weeks from today, Brock Aiken is going to be hosting a class. Now, I don't know if you know Brock. He's a friend of mine. I've known him for about a year and a half. And I'm telling you, he's transformational. I get so much incredible energy from Brock, but when he talks about his unique ability, his key skill set, which is sales and sales mastery and how to work with people and influence people and connect with people, I've never seen somebody more in their zone. He's had a 10-year sales career. He's helped people sell thousands and thousands and thousands of cars, which, by the way, I think is one of the toughest sales in the game. And now he's been in mortgage. He's had huge $40 million years. And he's going to host a class to talk about how to influence people and increase your lead conversion. He's going to talk about building rapport and connecting with people, but he's also going to talk about, the pace and tonality of scripting so that you can get people to commit more to meeting with you in person or to locking your loan or to overcoming their objections. So I know your goal this year is to go to 270 closings and $86 million in volume, and you're already a strong salesperson. But I'm telling you, if you're willing to invest an hour and come join me and be with me in Brock's class, you'll probably get those 2 nuggets and add that extra 10% oomph to every one of your sales calls. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in? I edified Brock and shared from my heart my love and enthusiasm for Brock. I edified, which by the way, you should do this class, Brock.
No, I've been writing down ideas the whole time.
Okay. I now have a hidden motive that just became conscious for me. Host more classes, dude. Okay. So I edified Brock. I edified the topic. And then the key thing, everybody, is what's in it for me. That's everybody's favorite radio station, WIFM. What's in it for me? Why does Amanda care? How does this help her? So on the last sales training call I did, we talked about building rapport. And most people think they're good at building rapport, but they actually just surface level, ha, 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 ha. And they don't get anywhere with it. Monday on our Monday sales call, Allison Larson was asking about hosting a happy hour. And she's like, I always feel like it's just surfacey and I don't really get good time with people. And I'm kind of like, hey, how are you? And how's the weather? And are you having fun for Christmas? And she's like, I don't get inspired by those level of conversations. And so I've been thinking about this, and I don't know if Al's on this call.
Yes.
I will send this to her. Oh, hi, Allison, you're on the call. So Allison, here's what I was thinking about. In Catalyst, I just had you guys do a month end recap. I'm actually having you dig in and self-reflect and look back on the last month and go, hey, in the month of November, how was your time with family? Did you do anything really exciting? How has your connection been with your spouse? What have you been doing with your kids? So how would I say that at a happy hour? The other question I really liked on there was what excites you about the month ahead? Right? So anytime you guys are going through, again, if somebody makes you think, makes you self-reflect, asks you a good question, you need to go, "Oh, that was good," because it made me feel something. It wasn't surfacey. So study other people that do it to you. And then you become the vessel to do it to somebody else. So the way that would look, Brock, you and I are at a happy hour now, and I'm drinking a glass of water, and you've stopped in, and I brought you into like two people here. And I was like, I don't know if I've told you guys about this, life and business coaching program I'm part of. I'm in Catalyst, but this chick is just constantly challenging me to think deeply and to kind of like really get into my heart. And I just feel so clear and motivated. And anyway, but one of the questions that she had us answer on Tuesday was looking back over the month of November and like thinking about how is our connection with each of our family members? Like, did we go on one-on-one dates with our kids? Did we go on any date nights with our spouse? Are we practicing our love languages? And I don't know, it made me like really pause and go, oh, hello, life has been busy. How's that going for you? I know you've got some siblings, Brock, and they mean a lot to you. And you've got this nephew that's cute as shit. You post on social media sometime. How was your November? Like, have you been able to be in contact with your family?
So that,
How did that feel for you?
oh, so good. Yeah, totally. It's so
Okay.
different than like how's business or just I call them like reflex objections or reflex questions that we ask. And yeah, they mean nothing. Like, how are you? Or, um, yeah,
Well,
I
and
mean, I
listen,
love it.
this is why next week when on day 2 of the best year ever, I'm going to talk about building unshakable confidence. The way you build confidence is number one through self-trust. That if you trust that if you have a pure motive and you speak from your heart and you really care about the other person, even if you botch it a little bit, even if I mean, that was a little rough. Okay. This is me critiquing myself. I'm like, it was a little, like a little rough. However, I just stuck in there. I stuck in there. I spoke from my heart. I converted it to a question. I shut up and I smiled. And he might have been like, so what are you really asking me? And I'd be like, good question. I'm trying to figure out what I'm asking you too. I guess what I want to know is like, how is your family? How have you been connected with them? And that question, even though I could have just gone out and said, hey, Brock, how's your family? That came out surfacey. I gave context. I spoke from my heart. I gave a little bit of a vulnerable story around it. Does that make sense? So part of building unshakable confidence is actually getting social experience. You've got to get social experience. This is why you have to make 5 quality talk tos every day. This is why you've got to go to 2 events a week and see people, not because it's the ROI on the event. Am I going to go spend an hour and get 3 business cards and get 1 lead? That's not what it's about. It's about those stages of learning, of going from I'm consciously incompetent. I kind of suck at networking because I go there and I just do surface level questions. I feel awkward the entire flipping time. I cannot wait. I'm looking at the exit and then that's it, right? So you got to stay in the game, stay in the game, stay in the game until you're like, oh, I came up with 2 or 3 questions. I've studied what other people said. I thought about my best conversation at the last networking event, and I brought that forward this time because I was so impressed with somebody else. I'm watching the great networkers and what they do and how they smile and how they include people. I'm a student of the game. Okay. This is why most people will not achieve their dreams is because they don't step on the field and they don't muck it up and they don't practice. So The last thing about moving people is fear of loss. So the one thing I didn't put in there for Amanda in the edification and the law of promotion is realizing that most people will be more moved by a fear of loss than an opportunity for gain. Okay. Like if I were to like say, oh my gosh, this pen, literally this will make you $1,000 this next year. I can guarantee it because it's about what I'm going to teach you to do with this pen. Okay. And you're like, ooh, $1,000 a pen. Ooh, that's nice. But then I was like, listen, there's only going to be 5 loan officers that are going to be chosen. And I'm telling you that one of the key things is you got to have this pen and you have been using it and know exactly how to use it if you even have a chance to be one of the 5. And everyone's like, shit, I got to get the pen. Right. So with Amanda, it could have been like, I just so want you there. It would mean the world to me to have you there. Okay. I'm influencing through my heart. And then say, and I don't want you to miss out. I don't want 3 of your competitors to get that edge on you if you're fighting over a multiple listing situation and there's like something that happens. And I know that's unlikely because you're already so good at what you do. But for all those reasons, I'd really love you to come. Can I get your RSVP? This is me tying back to closing from the last call. The last call, the reason I didn't go deep into closing is because most of you don't set yourself up well enough to even ask for the close. You didn't get heart connected to people. You didn't get to what do they really, really, really care about. You didn't get to what is driving them. Why are they in real estate this year? Why do they have a goal of selling 5 houses this year? Why? And what would that do for them? What would that do for their family? What would that do for their kids? What would that do for their self-confidence, for their pride, for their meaning in their life? If I don't know why something really, really matters to you, I can't then be connected with you there or use it to guide you forward. Phil Jones always talks about the best lines in sales is because you said this. So what that means is you've built rapport with your clients in a pre-approval meeting. And you've shown, I see you, I'm choosing you, I'm buying into your dream and your story and what your family wants. This isn't about me and what I think is cool. This is about you and what you think is cool, what you really want, right? I'm choosing you. And then later, when you're going in for the close or you're going to edify that thing, you could say, I remember that one time you told me, or because you said this, here's the recommendation I have. And it's bridging. Okay. So we've hit 45 minutes. You've got to get good at the law of promotion because you've got to be able to promote stuff. You've got to be able to get people to read your email. You got to get people to be able to take the next step and come meet with you in person. You got to get people to show up to a class. And listen, if you're not good at it now, you're already losing. So who cares if you try and you kind of suck at it and you're in that stage of learning of going, I called and I invited 10 people to come to the event and none of them showed up. Great. You got 10 more practices. And then you can have somebody listen to you. I'll listen to you and I'll listen to what you have to say. Brock would listen to you. I guarantee if somebody called Brock and go, Brock, will you just listen to me make a sales call? He would love it. Love it. Brendan Donaldson, I know, like we love helping each other listen. Sometimes you just need to turn on the record button and record yourself. So can I get people to show up? Are they there knowing that my motive is pure and that I really, really like them? And then the last thing about the law of attraction is that the law of attraction says, I'm not even going to promote. I'm not trying to go out there and drag people down. I'm going to be that lighthouse that guides people into the harbor rather than the tugboat that drags them, right? So you can use force to get through the wall and you punch at it and you work and you work and you work and you work and you work, or you can grow big enough and grow over the wall. Okay. The law of attraction is embodying the person that's already got the thing. So most people think that the formula is do, have, be. Most people think the formula is do, have, be. Meaning, if I want to be a thing, I want to have good mental health. I want to be peaceful. I want to feel successful. I want to be playful. then I've got to do the thing down here. Then I've got to grind out the sales calls. I've got to make 100,000. I've got to make 500,000. I've got to make President's Club so that I can have the title, so that I can have the awards, so that I can have the success. And then once I have it, then I'll be happy. It's like the means goals. I've got to get good grades so that I can go to a good school, so that I can get a good degree, so that I can get a good job, so that I can attract a good mate, so that I can be happy. The law of attraction flips that on its head and says it is be, do, have. It's your being first. It's your vibe first. It's doing the work that Brock talks about, where you roll over in bed and you say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how am I feeling this morning? And it's the honesty. Would I be excited to talk to me right now? Am I even excited to be in my own head right now? How am I going to take myself from 5 to a 7 or from a 4 to an 8? What can I be in control of with my attitude and effort to get me to an 8, where I feel like I can pour into others and I can see them and I can feel them and I can choose others? But if you don't choose yourself first, how the hell are you going to be in a state to be able to be totally present, beam your energy onto somebody else and make them feel chosen? Okay. So this is be, then you do, with the right state of mind, with the right vibe, with the right energy, then you do. And once you do in the right energy, you attract much easier to that what you want to have, because you're bringing level 10 energy and vibe and confidence and purity to the same activities that somebody else is bringing level 3 to, or your old self is bringing level 3 to. So the law of attraction says it's a bit more effortless when you're in the state of being that you want to be in. Okay. Remember everything that I said. People ultimately want to feel seen. They want to feel chosen. They're all insecure. They all feel like they're not good enough. And if you buy into me and you show me that you're interested in me and that you're choosing me, I'm going to lean into you and what you have to say until you lose my trust. Until your motive is no longer good for me, I'm in on it. That's how human relationships work. And that's how ultimately sales works. So I hope this has been powerful for you. Please, in the chat, look at your notes, circle what was the key thing that you needed to hear today, and put that in the chat. This is so fun. You guys went and bought the pen. You guys are hilarious. This is hilarious. Get off the sidelines. Yes, Katie. Marlene, I need to get 3 pins. Brock has given me a rating of 13 out of 10. Thank you, Brock.
I live for a good sales call. Nothing feels better. I'm like, could bust through a wall right now.
Call. Nothing feels better. Sales. So for all of you that already work for me, this is what we're going to focus on for a while, is the vibe between this and next is really about your vibe. How are you being as we go into then? Amanda, just thinking of conversations from others' point of view. Would I be excited to talk to me right now? Yeah. How are they feeling? Right. Not what am I saying? Get out of your head, get down here into your heart. Your smile is your greatest asset. Thank you, Siri. Excited for next week. Yes. Okay. And the formal invitation, I am doing a 3-day best year ever challenge next week. It's December 10th, 11th, and 12th. The recordings will be available only till the end of December 15th. Why? Because if you don't have any urgency to make it a priority to sit down and work on your life, I know most of us will be running around people pleasing, taking care of bullshit to-do lists and everything else. This 3 days, 90 minutes a day for 3 days, is about choosing yourself first. If you are super stoked about your life, about the way you're going to experience your life, your health, your fitness, your relationships, your career, and you've thought about it and you've charted it and you looked at what is the crap that gets in my way and what distracts me and why do I avoid the thing, you're going to start out with so much more power and conviction. You're raising your vibe because you've taken time to choose you. So I'm bringing 20 years of coaching and workshops and my favorite processes that I use for me that Galen and I do together to help you really organize your vision, your confidence, your goals, and help you just absolutely break through to the life that matters for you. And I promise you, if you bring others along and they go through these kind of growth processes with you, it will be easier to have more of these natural, heartfelt conversations about what really matters to you. So I highly recommend that you come, that you bring your spouse, that you register and get the recording if you missed one or whatever. And you refer it to the people you care about. Like, hey, I'm doing this free 3-day challenge. Come. Because then you can talk to people about what are their goals? What do they want with their fitness? What do they want with their contribution and being in community? And now you can have those heart connected, powerful conversations. I'm glad I brought Be Do Have. Maybe it's because I said so much. You guys remember the last part, but I'm super glad you remember that. Billy, thank you for putting the registration link here in the Zoom. Brock, I love you. I love that you were on today and that I was able to just grab you. Any final words to help us salespeople as we go out there in the month of December?
I think my final thought was I've heard, I don't know if this is in the mortgage business, but I've heard this phrase a lot in the car business, which is, do you have commission breath? And I think we all have those experiences with salespeople when you're like, you are trying to sell me so hard. And you can sense their commission breath. And I think like what you said, my number one takeaway was like writing down how people make you feel. And when you have that experience with another salesperson, you have to write down why did they feel like they had commission breath? And we all have clients or realtors at the end of the call. They're like, yeah, we're going to use you. And you can tell you did not nail it. And I think just being more conscious of that, like, what did I do wrong? Most likely I did not prepare and I did not connect to their heart. And I probably talked about what mattered to me and not what mattered to them. So, yeah, I just think remembering commission breath ruins a deal every single time, or your relationship with the realtor, and connecting to their heart usually solves that problem. So,
Kick ass. Thank you guys for being here. We'll see you next month on
love
the
you,
Sales
Shay.
Mastery Call. It is going to be January 9th. I've got my whole calendars out with all the coaching I'm doing, and January 9th is the next one. So we'll see you there.